Screw it. We'll do it live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Coming of Shadows, the Babylon 5 Retrospective. Welcome. This week on the program, we're going to be talking about Season 2, Episode 13, Hunter Prey. But before we do that, I have to welcome my co-host, the king of all the tools. It's Cam. Say hello, Cam.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Yes, good evening. All right. So we got a big show today. I think it's a pretty good one. We got a special guest coming in. But before we start the show, I think we should mention there's been a bit of a political thing going on in the United States. There was a Charlie Kirk, who's a big name right-wing pundit, was assassinated, shot while he was doing an event. Kind of a big thing, a political assassination. We don't really go into politics on the show, but just let me say on the behalf of myself, and I think Cam agrees, we are big free speech pundits. So, someone getting shot just because of, we're assuming that's why he was shot, because of his political activism and the words he said. We're very much against anybody being, that kind of thing, shooting people just because of their opinions. That's not on and is wrong in our view. Cam, anything you want to add to that?
No, that's well said. There'll be many discussions on this outside of here.
Yeah, and we want to provide a little bit of a, the show is to get away from what's going on in the world and stuff. So if you're watching, you're tired of the various crap that goes on in the world, come here for something a little different. So that's all we're going to say about that for now. There's lots of other channels and all sorts of places you can talk about that. And maybe I'll even jump into the Discord, into the after chat there. If people want to talk about that or anything else, they can do about it after. But anyway, all right, let's get on to the show. Let's bring in our regular co-panelists. It's Death Angel Shadow, of course, and Jason. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome.
I'm in disguise.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Tom Baker, can I have your autograph?
Wait a second. Where's Jason?
Right.
Where's your scarf?
I can't even recognize it.
Right.
All right. And let's bring in our guest panelist. It's Dean. He's going to add a little class to the show because he's say something, Dean.
Well, thank you so much for having me on the panel. I'm really
there you go. See, he's British. He's classed the place up already.
Thank
right
you.
On. Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Dean?
Well, I'm a regular appearer on Jack the Lost Law Scholars panel, where we talk about all things fantasy and tabletop. So that was on about 6 hours ago. Really looking forward to taking part and talking about all things Babylon 5 now. So if you want sci-fi and fantasy, give me a follow on X.
All right. Sweet. Can you drop your the link to that show and your X in the private chat, and
I'll do it.
Jeff will pop it into the regular chat there.
Yeah,
okay.
I
That'd be
can do
great.
that.
Yeah. So
Well, so
now
Dean,
Dean,
are
you go
sorry,
ahead.
Dean, are you up early or up late?
It's 4 o'clock in the morning here, so I'm up early.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
You're
Appreciate that.
welcome.
And you
The
just-
show is a good show.
You were on with Jack 6 hours ago.
Yes, I was. Yes,
Did you
we
get
talked
any
about
sleep?
art. Yes.
Yeah, Jack's a great guy. I
He
might
is.
drop a link for his channel here at some point.
And you were telling me before the show you have seen the show before, but you're
Yes.
in the midst of rewatching it.
Yes.
correct?
Well, when I first saw the show, it was when it first aired in this country. It gives away a bit of my age, and I've watched it many times before. So this has given me a good excuse to break out the box sets again and watch them from season 1 onwards. So
All right, right
and
on.
loving it just as much as the first time I watched the show.
Right on.
So just so you know, Cam has seen it all, but Jason and myself and Jeff are somewhat new to the show. I have not seen, though. I admit though I was watching this episode. I did watch the next episode because I was kind of into it. So, but
Merchandising.
I am not. I haven't seen anything farther than that.
Okay, so I should be aware of spoilers then.
Yes.
Well, we kind of be aware of spoilers anyway because of the chat and
Mhm.
some people who are kind of watching as we go. Plus, some people are interested to hear what we have to say when when we don't know what the final storyline is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, be aware of that. But I mean, it's a 30-year-old show. There's usually a 36, 72-hour spoiler rule. I mean, it's way past that.
If you slip up, it's okay. We won't hold it against you.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And if you're in the chat and there's
Nice.
spoilers, just I don't know.
Yeah,
close
we
the
don't
chat.
care what the chat. If the chat spoils it, yeah, well, let the other people in the chat yell at them.
Okay. All right. So before we get started, we have to do the Babylon 5 trivia
Yes, we
answers
do.
from last week, and then we'll go right into this show. So let me get on to that right away here. Okay. So here we go. Let's go. Questions from last week. What does Sheridan say is the first casualty of war? What race does Ivanova negotiate an alliance with? Finish the quote. Instead, I've turned into a blank with legs. What convinced the alien delegation humans are worthy of an alliance? And how does the alien want to formally seal the alliance deal? And of course, the answer is real quick. Of course, truth is the first casualty of war. The Lumadi are the race that Ivanova negotiates with, and it's Londo who says, I've turned into a wishing well with legs. And the lurkers down below are the ones that convince the aliens that humans are worthy of an alliance. And of course, the alien wants to formally seal the alliance deal by doing the dirty with Ivanova. Yeah. All right. So those
Doing
are our
the dirty.
answers from. Isn't that what you called it last week? That's what I'm just using you.
Freaky.
Right on. Okay, so let's jump right into the show.
The Cam's gonna do the
Cam, yeah, go ahead, Cam. Do the quick
short synopsis. Yeah.
short synopsis. I'll do the somewhat longer synopsis, and then we'll talk.
Sure. Episode 13 of season 2, episode 35 overall, Hunter Prey, written by J. Michael Straczynski. Original air date March 1st, 1995 in the US. And production is 213, so right in order with the story order. Sorry. Okay, so the command staff races against time and Earth Force to find a missing doctor who has information on President Santiago's assassination.
Dun dun
All
dun.
right.
Is that it?
Yep, that's it. Short
That's
one.
pretty
Wow,
much it. Short
that's a
and
short
sweet.
and sweet one.
Let's see if I can do as well. All right, so a little bit
mean-
longer, just to remind you, if it's been a while since you've seen the show, the episode. So the show starts off the opening credits with Ivanova and Sheridan in Bay 13th, there where the Vorlon ship is, where apparently no one goes. No one knows anything about the ship, and when maintenance workers go in there to work on the bay or something, they have weird dreams. The ship sort of activates his defensive system when Sheridan gets too close. And he mentions that he thinks that the Vorlons are 1,000 years ahead of us in technology. And Sheridan then says that he's going to get more info on Kosh. It's his new thing that he's going to do. And also, we find out from Garibaldi, he comes in and meets the the two, and then later tells them that they are on alert. They want the Earth Alliance is looking for a Dr. Jacobs, and he's wanted dead or alive, basically. So there's basically two. What I saw, I'm sure Cam will correct me later if he has to, but basically sort of two plots running. The first one is finding Dr. Jacob, and the other one is Sheridan's running with Kosh and trying to get more information about them. I'll go over the Kosh one first. It's a little bit shorter. Throughout the episode, at various points, Sheridan talks to Kosh. He wants to build bridges. Kosh is his usual enigmatic self. Sheridan mentions the dream that he had earlier in the season. He later gets called to a meeting with Kosh and told that he's not ready to understand Vorlons, but the Vorlons are going to try to, Kosh is going to try to teach him. And that's sort of the basics of that.
What do you want? Don't ever say that again.
For the finding of Dr. Jacob takes up most of the episode. An agent, Cranston, shows up. He says that Jacobs has highly sensitive info. Sheridan seems to cooperate right off the bat, but Garibaldi is a little bit suspicious of Cranston. He says he's not telling us something, but he swears we will find him. Then Garibaldi goes and talks to Franklin, and Franklin doesn't believe that Jacobs could have done the horrible things that they say he's done. They say that he's stolen sensitive information and he's going to sell it or something like that. Franklin doesn't believe him because Jacobs used to be a teacher of his. We then see Jacobs trying to get fake ID. Security is briefed by Agent Cranston, and they're told that Jacobs and all Earth Alliance bigwigs have a chip, and they can detect it with these short-range scanners. Then Sheridan is talking to Garibaldi and walking through a hallway. He sees a mark on the wall, and then he goes off somewhere, makes contact with someone she says she's from the General, which I assume is General Haig. She tells him the truth about Jacobs, that he has information on Clark, that he wasn't sick when he got off the ship 24 hours before it blew up and killed the original President Santiago. Sheridan then has a problem. He's basically been told that he's got to sabotage the search, but he can't show that he's working against Earth Dome. So he's a little bit mad about that. Then Garibaldi sends a secret message to Franklin, and they get together and they go down below to search for Jacob. Jacob is taken by this criminal whose name is apparently Max. We haven't seen him before. Max then attempts to sell the data crystal that he finds on Jacob with all the information and Max himself to Cranston. Sheridan sends Cranston on a bit of a wild goose chase. Garibaldi and Franklin rescue Jacobs. Garibaldi gets hurt and waits to get the data crystal, which he does. Cranston then finds out that the Babylon 5 can be rewired internally, so the sensors could find out where Jacobs is. He's a little mad about that. The command staff, Sheridan, has the idea to hide Jacob in the Vorlon ship. They scan the station and the Vorlon ship. Of course, they don't find anything, and everything is hunky-dory. The final scene, they take Jacob out of the ship, and he was apparently in an induced coma during there. That's the only way they would let him in the ship. And that's about the extent of the episode. All right, Cam, where do you want to start, Cam? Cam, are you there?
Sorry, I had my mic muted. We usually start with talking about the A and B plots, and I think you basically mentioned it, but just to review and see if anyone has any different ideas. The A plot, is the whole thing with the tracking down the doctor and cat and mouse game with Earth Force
That's
intelligence
the
there.
that's the long plot too. Yeah,
Right.
the other one is kind of brief and intermixed.
Yeah, and the second one I'd say is the interaction with Kosh. I mean, they do merge at the end, of course, but Sheridan's kind of exploration into the Vorlons, or at least it's the beginning of that. Anyone else have any?
I mean,
Any-
should we touch on Kosh since we can get through that pretty quick? And there's a lot of information I think that we learn.
Sure, if you'd like, we've done
Jeff
that
wants
before.
to do Kosh first.
Well, why don't you go ahead, Jeff, and then we'll let Dean. Why don't you start out, and then we'll let Dean comment a little bit.
Okay. Well, the first thing, of course, is Garibaldi, or not Garibaldi. Sheridan goes down to Bay 13, where Kosh's ship has been parked for 2 years, and he's pretty much been on the station for 2 years. He's taken it out a couple of times. That's about it. And Sheridan holds out his hand and it looks like something comes out, and it's like almost like it's targeting. If you notice, it's pointing right at his heart. So it's kind of like, not the ship, I think, is kind of clearly has some self-defense awareness about ne'er-do-wells that might try to do something to it. So
Yeah, you know what? If I could just interject for 1 second, I just found it kind of funny that they were talking about how it's so advanced and everything, and it's this horrible '90s CGI of the ship.
But the patterns move. Right. They do, and they
very, very dated, but understandable.
Yeah. CGI of the time. So that was kind of and of course Ivanova's like, back away slowly. Don't make any threatening moves, because the ship. I do find it interesting that it's a. We learned that it is a living, organic ship. Not the first time we've ever heard of organic ships, is it?
No, it isn't.
Anybody else want to?
One of Moira's cousins.
Yeah. Dean, what do you think?
I recall back in the day watching this episode for the first time, and very little was known about the Vorlons. So this episode actually started filling in some of the blanks, and seeing that ship up close on a small TV where the graphics looked absolutely groundbreaking.
Oh yeah,
it was an incredible experience. Watching the episode again, I still think I'm watching the remastered versions where they've tidied up some of the graphics. It still looks a little bit dated, but it's not too bad. And seeing the Vorlon ship that close is actually quite something. The way the colors move. When the writing appears on the Vorlon ship, do you know what that writing actually says?
No, but that is a good point that I forgot to write down, and that's the ship was basically, for those that haven't seen it, the ship. Kosh is looking at the ship, and it's almost like they're communicating, and then the writing appears. So if you know what it means, go ahead and spill the beans.
I know what it means. It said drink Coca-Cola.
That's the next episode.
Sorry.
It says Steve Pugh. And Steve Pugh works on season 3 as their sort of graphics specialist, system engineer. He's credited as but he's a VX expert.
So he threw his name in there.
He did, yes.
That's interesting.
A little bit of an Easter egg there. Yeah.
Cool.
So, but it's clear that the intent was to show that there was some sort of communal type. I don't know about symbiosis between Kosh and the ship. That we don't know. But clearly they can communicate on a level. So, and what we saw that in Next Generation, Farpoint Station, right? The very first episode wasn't that ship that the ones were doing at where the grid was and all that. And I don't know. Anyway, so it's kind of interesting that the whole organic ship concept was even introduced, at that time too. So it's obviously not not totally a new concept.
Well,
Beyond, go ahead.
I was going to say Sheridan gets his gumption up a little bit here, and he's like, I'm gonna dig into this Vorlon question. I mean, he's telling us what the audience is probably wondering at that point, right? It's like, okay, when are we going to finally start getting to some Vorlon stuff?
Yeah. He's almost kind of taken that perspective of from the audience. Hey, we've seen these Vorlons. He's appeared a handful of times in the first season, and we've seen a little. I think we've at this point now seen him more. We've seen Kosh appear more regularly in this season, and at the halfway point than we did the entire first season. It just feels that way. I at least seen more of him. Going on to there was a moment where Sheridan's walking through a hallway and he hears a whoosh. It literally said that in closed caption, whoosh. And he turns around and Kosh is going through there and he decides to turn around again. He's like, Ambassador Kosh, And so Sheridan's definitely making Kosh a project.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it may actually be the other way around. That's kind of we learn that as that unfolds. Go ahead, Cam.
Yeah, just an episode or two back, we saw when basically when Sheridan was abducted by the alien race, that Kosh kind of came into his mind, and they do discuss that a little bit in this episode. And Kosh, of course, is being, his normal enigmatic self. But then they do have a kind of a meaningful exchange. Anyone want to discuss that with the question and all?
Well, what do you want? He finally. So they have. He's like, you're not ready. They're not ready yet. You are not ready yet. You do not understand yourself. Is stuff that, Kosh was telling when he's having this exchange with Sheridan. And Sheridan gets frustrated and says, "What do you want?" And Kosh basically comes back and says, "Do not ask that question."
Yeah, never ask that question.
Never ask that question. And that right there is a throwback. Right?
Well, yeah, of course, because that's the question that Mr. Morden is asking everyone, right? And we know Mr. Morden has associates, and we've heard reference to the shadows and other things at this point. Where Sinclair's message to Garibaldi said, stay close to the Vorlon and watch out for shadows, for example. So we're clearly seeing kind of some sides appearing here.
So is that the evil question then? What do you want?
Well,
yeah,
it
would appear so.
Yeah, yes. What do you want?
Seems to be what the evil guys ask, right?
Yeah, and we've postulated about this, right? Haven't we? Where I think I know I've said at least a couple of times, or it seems like Morden and the shadows, that seems to be the side of evil, and the Vorlons seem to be the side of the light. They're the side of the dark, and the Vorlons are more on the light side. So, not saying they're angels and demons, but
if you look quite literally, when his containment suit was opened in the pilot, it was bright internally, like he was some kind of a glowing creature or maybe even light energy and not physical form. So it's not a stretch to sit there and say that we're looking at
it reminded me of the
light.
Yeah, it reminded me of the way in Stargate when Daniel Jackson ascended.
Yeah, which time?
Well, yeah. Or any of the ascended being, they all have that really bright, brilliant kind of, gotta shield your eyes from the glow, and that's kind of the way he was.
At the very least, the Vorlons and the Shadow
are polar opposites.
Yeah, or against each other, or
mortal enemies.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, Dean, you got any other comments about the Kosh and Sheridan interaction?
Well, I think at this stage, very little's known about the Vorlons, very little known about the shadows or who they are. The questions I find are very interesting. The Mr. Morden and his associates, they're more concerned about what you want. The Vorlons are more concerned about your understanding of who you are, which is their question. Who are you? Do you understand yourself? And I find the exchange between Sinclair and sorry, not Sinclair,
Sheridan.
Sheridan.
I do too all the time.
Very easy mistake. Sheridan and Kosh, a very interesting one, and it's the start of their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment, it seems very cold. And as much as Kosh is saying, "I'll help you understand yourself," it's also Kosh beginning to understand Sheridan and whether he's up for a task or something. I will teach you to fight shadows. And it's, I thought that scene was a very touching scene. And later on, it really comes back. But that's a little bit of spoilers. All I'm going to say is it's fantastic how this relationship's beginning, and it's the first steps. And as you've already pointed out, Kosh has appeared more often in season 2 than he ever did in season 1.
Well, and Sheridan even points that out. He's like, since I got here, you're showing up more, to meetings and things, in this episode. So it's like, he's definitely has the idea that there's something going on there, and he's trying to get to the bottom of it. Yeah. And Kosh, Dean, you brought up a good point, because Kosh at one point is kind of, I don't know, he said something that indicated it's like that he doesn't quite get it either, or he doesn't quite understand Sheridan as well. So, which is a little strange for the Vorlon to not always seem like they know what's going on, and he also seems to be, it's like, yeah, maybe I'll do this, but it's not going to be, he's kind of impatient, it's like, that's why Sheridan kind of snapped at him, because he was like, oh, come and whatever. And then he's like, nah, forget it, kind of thing. So, the Vorlon are not a friendly race necessarily.
It's interesting. He said, Kosh said, ready to fight legends.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Legends, which we haven't particularly heard that phrase like that. Up to this point, I haven't heard the phrase legends used.
Well,
and I don't know if we're talking about, because the shadow are mentioned in, the Narn religious book that Jakar has. What is it? Jaquan?
The Book of Jaquan.
Book of Jaquan.
That's a good point. The use of that word, because when he says legends initially, my mind jumps to, oh, it's kind of a good connotation. It's like, when you say, oh, that guy's a legend, right? Something good. But then it's like, you could also kind of take it as if he said, well, fighting myths.
Something from legends.
Right. Yeah. That
could be a monster or something.
Right. Right. What do you guys think about that use of the word?
I was like, I wrote it down because I was like, I haven't heard that. Wait a second. I haven't heard the word legends used. I don't think at all in the show, unless they were talking about, oh yeah, he's a legend, talking about, Sheridan or his, his buddy. That's, the general that is helping.
I agree. I don't think we've heard it that used that way.
That connotation.
I don't remember hearing that.
But ultimately, I think their exchange is going to go somewhere. I think, and kind of, got a hint that might be happening in the future episodes, that we'll see more exchanges, learning, understanding between Sheridan and Kosh. So that's good. I look forward to seeing that. It does seem like they cut a little quick to. Sheridan somehow managed to get Kosh to agree to let them sneak the guy on board the ship.
There's at least 2 scenes missing from that thread, because the scene, the confrontation that Sheridan has with Kosh, that seems like it's the first piece, and there's at least 1, maybe 2 interactions in between that and the end, when the ship leaves and it comes back, that's missing out of this episode.
Yeah, you never see Sheridan go ask Kosh, can we do this?
There's a point A and there's a point C, and we're missing B.
Yeah, and you'd think that there'd be a good, he would ask him and there'd be some enigmatic responses, and then he'd eventually agree.
Well, I think they were doing that to kind of hold the secret, so when you had it revealed, the doc. Well, I guess I'm jumping to the end here, but about where the doctor isn't.
Right.
Yeah, but they didn't even hint that Sheridan's got an idea. I mean, there's a scene
No,
there towards
Garibaldi says.
Garibaldi says, I see that look on his face. He's got an idea, and we don't see anything else.
Yeah.
If you had added one line where Sheridan could say, I gotta go see Ambassador Kosh, just some kind of a something. But we don't have any.
I wonder if it
there's
was.
a piece.
I wonder if it was ever shot and then they cut it for time, edited for time to make it fit within our strange American, 1 hour time slot.
Yeah, with the show
with
over
commercials.
so long
With
and all the
commercials.
remasters put out and everything, you'd think they'd want to put
Would have put some of that
director's
footage back.
cut. There'd be a lot of scenes you could put in, but anyway.
Anything else specific that anyone wants to talk about with the Kosh and Sheridan stuff? We'll come back to the ship thing at the end.
The whole the song has been that it's the ship sang to the doctor when he was on it board it, right? And of course Kosh has referenced song as well, so something to do with song is definitely involved. I don't understand it. Maybe it's singing to you on a subconscious level or something like that.
Yeah, it might be something to do with telepathic connection. It's coming across in that fashion, or
as a song.
Yeah, and the workers said the same thing. They had these weird dreams and stuff. So it touched their mind in some way.
Right.
The other thing I'd note, I guess I kind of touched on it a little bit, but is that if Kosh has some sort of plan, he seems to be putting up barriers to it. It's like it seems like he does want to have some sort of interaction, or like he says, teach them something. But like I said, he's not making it easy. And that's why would that be? Is the question I have.
Well, I mean,
I think.
Yeah, we're seeing. I mean, we're seeing these apprehensions. We see it from the Minbari too. On that side. So I think it's these barriers that have to start falling in order for the different races or different species to come together to be able to ultimately combat this evil that is building in the universe. So
go ahead.
Sorry.
Dean.
Yeah, I think we touched on it earlier, but we see a vulnerability in Kosh during the exchange between him and Sheridan, where Kosh is almost beginning to express lack of knowledge, and the Vorlons have always projected power up to this point. So I think, saying that they're keeping stuff back, the Vorlons have a problem sharing. As I believe you've seen the episode Deathstalker, where they blow up the ship of the person who's bringing immortality to Earth.
Right.
They want control of knowledge. So the whole thing about understanding who Sheridan is, I think we're seeing a lot of vulnerability from Kosh. And I think that's the kind of first step to the Vorlons really beginning to trust someone and trust someone with their knowledge and the biggest secret that they hold.
Yeah. All right. I have one more point on this. But before I do, looks like we got 23 people watching the show on YouTube. Hey, thanks for coming and watching out. That's a pretty high number for us. I'm not sure if that's our best number, but it's up there with it. I just wanted to mention that I've read a fair amount of science fiction, so I always kind of it's very rare that I find a story that doesn't have some sort of trope that you've seen before. And I mean, the show kind of seems to have the trope of sort of these two, we see two competing, older races that haven't been involved in the galaxy as much, or at least with, the present with the humans and Centauri and all the regular ones. And they seem to be coming back and some sort of conflict going on, but it's not quite, Kosh is not operating exactly in that sort of vein. So I'm not quite sure exactly what the writers are trying to get out here. I've been watching, trying to speculate as to what the deal is with the with the Vorlons. I mean, you'd think it would be something like, oh well, they're the Shadow or their mortal enemies. They're here to help. They're fighting on the side of light. They're gonna they've come back to stop the Shadow when they know the Shadow's gonna come back. But Kosh doesn't seem to be operating that way. As Cam mentioned, at least he's kind of he doesn't seem to be too concerned about getting this thing going. And maybe I should help. Maybe I should have approached Sheridan or somebody earlier and tried to get them on on board to get going. So I'm not quite sure about that.
Yeah, I think everything is a challenge to get over. There's these hurdles, and yeah, I mean, honestly, I think they should they should just go. Absolutely, here, let us show you what you need to learn. But even the Minbari, don't want to really reveal everything. Although I think that we're starting to see that sort of shift with Delenn, at any rate, because I think she's beginning to understand. But
yeah,
anyway.
I'm sure all the people who have seen the show are laughing to themselves. But so we try to figure it out. But yeah.
All right, should we go over to the main storyline here?
Yeah, just before you hold on. Can you guys see the chat on the screen? I've had it up since the beginning.
Now it's up.
See it?
Yeah.
Poof! It just appeared.
Just appeared?
No, I've seen it from the start.
It's been up for me the
Okay,
whole
good.
time.
All right. I think that might just
No, not the YouTube chat in the one that's actually in the streaming window.
Is it in the streaming window?
It is now.
Yeah.
It just appeared.
Yeah, it is.
just appeared.
And no, it's been there the whole time.
Yeah,
for me.
same.
What are
I
you
started
watching
it-
on?
I'm watching on Brave, the browser that's better than the
It
rest
has
of them
nothing to
that
do
y'all are
with the
using.
browser.
Oh, wow.
All right. Well,
I'm in
all
restore.
right.
What do you
Well, let's
mean?
sort it out. It must be. I think it's
What
just on
else
your
would
end,
it
Jeff.
be?
I put up the chat in the on the thing about when we started talking about Babylon 5 per se. I think after my stuff. Anyway, all right, good. I'm glad it's working. Good. Sidebar, yeah. All right. Okay, go ahead, Cam.
Okay, well, so the A storyline here is they get Garibaldi gets an alert from Earth that there's a fugitive out, and he comes to tell. Well, he actually comes to Bay 13 where Ivanova and Sheridan are, and then they leave there. Garibaldi says he doesn't want to talk about it in front of that thing or whatever. And then, so he explains to them that there's basically a kill order out on this guy. That, if they can't capture him to kill him, because he apparently has information that is so vital or so important that it can destroy relationships with the other, non-aligned worlds and such. So they're suspicious about this, but then, the Earth agent Cranston and his associates show up and then brief them, and then they're trying to find this guy who is reported to have come to Babylon 5. This doctor, who Franklin happens to know. He was a student of him.
He taught at Harvard. He was a professor at Harvard for 2 years too. Was brought up in there.
There you go.
I got to say, I was pretty suspicious right off the bat with this. Like, he's a doctor.
Not
He's got all
again.
this secret information. Come on.
Right.
Well, he was
Well,
the president's doctor, though.
I know,
right?
but still, I mean, is he sitting in on the
Well,
nuclear codes or whatever?
Well,
he was the vice president's doctor at the time.
Right. But Cranston said that he used his authority or whatever to access information. So it wasn't like he was
Yeah.
sitting in on it. They implied that he went and stole the information.
I was pretty suspicious about that. Come on.
Well, yeah. I mean, we kind of get the idea right
What are you
away
doing
that
here,
there's-
doctor, in the secret military briefing room? Oh, it's important. Come on. But anyway,
Well, if he's got access at a certain security level, he doesn't necessarily have to sneak around to a particular computer console. He can probably access whatever it is from his own office. And it wouldn't be that unusual for him to be doing computer work, especially if he's got any kind of research project going on.
I was a little suspicious. I thought it seems he's going to have secret black project secrets. He's a doctor.
I think
all he's got to do is send an email that says, "Please delete this after you read it."
Okay. Yes. Too close to home. It's not. But I think the crew is suspicious. They're it's like, what's going on with this?
Yeah, it's exactly. That's kind of my point. Yeah. The viewer is suspicious. I think right off the bat, and the crew is a little bit too, because it doesn't pass the smell test. It's a little bit funny.
Right. And we've been told, in the last few episodes here that there's a conspiracy afoot, right? And they're the crew of Babylon 5, or the leaders of Babylon 5 at least, are working clandestinely to try and unravel this, and this is a central part of it. So it all works, I think. But so they're playing this cat and mouse game, right? Where they're supposed to be overtly helping the guys that they suspect. That being the Earth Force Intelligence.
And they work at the direction of the president directly. They're the only one that answers only to him, supposedly, right?
Oh, you know what? Sorry, before I forget. Yeah, you're right. They mentioned that that's one of the agencies that the president has direct control over. So are his cronies, essentially. But it was pointed out to me that Agent Cranston was the principal in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and the doctor was Socrates from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Excellent.
Anyway, fun side note. Okay,
when was Bill and Ted? That was before this show?
Yeah, I think that was more like 89 or 88.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Anybody?
Well, which one? There was multiple ones.
First one.
Yeah, true.
They went to hell too. So great.
Dean, would you like to take the lead on discussing this storyline in general? Any points you have about it?
Yeah. I found the actual storyline itself. You got this government agent coming in. He's got this real baloney story about why they need to get this doctor. Mm-hmm. What was made known, it was the doctor of the vice president. I know he became the president afterwards. I guess when Santiago became president, that the doctor was probably sidelined at that point, watched, which we find out later on in the episode. I like Garibaldi's kind of intuition at this point, and Garibaldi as a character, he's fantastic. You really get to know that he can read people well, and he reads immediately. There's something not right here.
He's got a high wisdom check, doesn't he?
Oh, he has. Very, very good at
Probably it might be an 18. He might have an 18 for a wisdom.
Definitely trained in sensing motives, and he does sense something is wrong. The thing that got me with this episode right from the start is they've got these hand scanners, and the agents, Krennic saying, we got these hand scanners, you get close enough and you can detect the chip. Mm-hmm. And I'm there thinking, well, that's not a great mechanic if someone's been kidnapped and you don't know where they've been taken, because you've got to almost be on top of where they are before you can scan them. Other than it is a system that can link into other scanners and increase its range that way. But it felt,
it's very, very much RFID. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Right. Absolutely. And it felt a little bit odd, other than being a plot device so that they got to wander around the station and they can't
the
just,
little, their version of a tricorder looking for these little.
Absolutely.
And, I agree with that. And plus, the other thing is we never see them actually show a picture of the doctor. Like, no. Isn't that the first thing you go on? Let's go visual recognition. These guys are like pointing to the scanners. We're looking for a really old guy. He looks like he's like 65. He's got no hair. He's got white. I mean, how many of those could be on the station?
And this is something that's come up several times, right? It's like they don't have basic cameras coverage of the station, right? Which is, by today, I mean, today's technology, everything is covered with a camera, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're in Dean's territory, you can't go.
Yeah.
I couldn't possibly comment.
Please don't.
Really,
please
I'm
don't
not
put
allowed
yourself.
to comment.
Yes. Please don't put yourself in any danger.
Yeah.
No. On the camera front, though, I think there could be a good reason why there are few cameras. You're dealing with a lot of different alien species, and each of them have their own belief systems. And we've already had on Earth where forgotten tribes, you know, people took their photos and they believed their souls were being snatched and taken away. So maybe it's far more of a privacy thing as to why they haven't got cameras. It's about respecting the different aliens. You might find there's some aliens who insisted that they can't be recorded. And maybe that's why Babylon 5 security is actually quite lax when it comes to their camera coverage.
That's a good argument.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah,
you could also suggest that, just like in the UK, there could be a lot of, especially with the down below style cameras. I mean, those people will steal anything that's not nailed down. They might have put cameras up, they've been all stolen and sold for, you know, whatever.
Well, I mean, there's some ne'er-do-wells all over the ship.
So they do tell us a little bit about the plan. Cranston tells them that they're going to go basically deck by deck, you know, in a systematic search. Now, I don't know how you have a dragnet that you can't get through in a station this big, but apparently they were confident that they could do that. And Zach, our new security friend, kind of questioned. He's like, "This is going to take, you know, weeks,
5 years,
or something,
like
some long period of time.
5 miles. It's going to take years, yeah.
And that's when they bring the scanner thing in. It's like, oh, okay, that's really going to speed up.
Plot
You got
device,
literally, like you said, check everybody. And it's funny because they, you know, some security guys come into Med Lab where Franklin is going, apparently teaching some interns or something, and they're literally going up to people, and it's like, you can see this isn't the guy, right?
Yeah.
If they had a picture, they could.
Well, yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they forgot to bring a picture.
You know, that's Franklin, eh? He's the medical guy. Like, we see him all the time.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, and they're scan him. They're like, oh, maybe he's like, do they really think he's the guy, but he's in like disguise or something?
Right.
They might have thought he had a changeling net or something like that.
Changeling, yeah.
Completely changed his
those
appearance.
are illegal. Those are
You know what? That would have been a great.
CIA
That would have been a great callback to mention that. You know?
It would have.
But then we also have at this point where Franklin gets his happy birthday greeting from Garibaldi. This very subtle secret message that he has.
But it's not my birthday. What are you talking about? Wait, computer, go replay the message again and frame by frame. And it's like, oh, really?
Yeah, he's saying this verbally where anybody can hear him say it. But I guess he's really saying it quietly. And then he gets a secret message encoded in there in one frame from Garibaldi, which, you know, in cartoon style, tells him, you know, here, come to my quarters and
text bubbles.
Right. So not too subtle, but I guess effective.
Yeah, I get a little problem too on your changeling net. You notice that Jacobs he's popping like methamphetamines or something to keep himself awake. He's like, oh, if I fall asleep, they'll catch me. I mean, it could have been, you know, the use of the changeling net would have been a good thing instead of that, or it could have been something that he's wearing or taking to suppress their ability to detect him with their magic
like a lead
scanner
suit
device. Something that would have made more sense, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm like, he's taking this thing to keep
or
awake.
he
Why
could have
doesn't
just taken that out. He's a doctor,
something,
right?
Yeah, it seemed a little bit tacked
You think a
on,
doctor would know how to take out the little implant?
Yeah, but overall, you know, they are offering some sort of explanation. You know, if you don't dig too deep in the details, it works for the story, I think.
It does. It's a little weak, but yeah, it works. And I like how he disappeared as soon as he closed the gate.
Right.
It's like, ooh, Faraday cage?
Right. So and also the doctor tries to get a fake ID when we first see him. He tries to get a fake ID from one of the merchants. You know, I guess he got a tip that he's the guy to talk to.
Right.
And that guy gets freaked out because he what did he say about it? He was
he says, you want to you're either security, trying to trip me up, or you want it too bad, which means that people important people
which means you're on the lam for you got some heavy heat on you.
Yeah, so I don't want to get involved.
Yeah,
which of course he actually does get involved later on again. Because of one of his personal possessions is apparently an antique pocket watch.
Yeah,
but that says from the office of the president of Earthdom or whatever. And it's
it was Harry Truman's is what it really was, right?
Well, he said it was like what 20th century or something like that, or 19th 20th century, and it's like. Okay, pocket watch that's been inscribed with the current president information. I don't know.
Sure, they wrecked that artifact by just putting some new scrawl on it, I guess.
Yeah.
But so Sheridan does put up a good front that he's working with them, right?
Yeah.
Which makes sense because they're trying not to blow their cover, and they can't appear to be any part of helping the doctor. But then Sheridan gets the contact, which I think was a ribbon or something, right? Like
there was a ribbon tied like around a corner grate. In the hallway.
And so clearly that was something he recognized, and so we can assume that it was set up, to do that. And then he uses some kind of like a flash signal to call out the agent, from behind her crate hiding place.
Sending semaphore.
I mean, that was a bit little late, but I actually like this, Cam, because it shows the sort of the conspiracy sort of thing.
Sure.
Garibaldi sending secret messages to Franklin, Sheridan seeing these, these symbols that he's supposed to meet somebody somewhere. It really harkens back to, a Cold War spy craft and stuff.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect, of giving you the sense of there's a conspiracy going on.
Dare we call it can't?
I don't.
Can't? Would that be an appropriate word for it?
Yeah,
spy can't?
You're all up in the D&D.
I know.
But the thieves can't.
Well, I mean, in a way, that's kind of what it is, though.
And it's fine. I like
little markings.
I like the fact that they're making a point that they're not just blathering, openly about stuff. It just seemed a little low tech, but maybe that's a good thing. In a highly advanced society where you can't trust communications,
right?
So
everything can be monitored. I mean, did he use his little dampening device when he was talking to?
She did. She put
one. She did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Which I know we're getting to that. Where he meets his contact.
Yeah. Who wants to? Anybody want to discuss that?
Before we do, I want to mention something, and I didn't notice this, but I read something and it's just that in the background where Garibaldi and Sheridan are talking, and he notices the thing. Apparently, there is a ranger in the background. I didn't see that.
I didn't.
Really?
Did I see that?
No, I missed it.
No, I need to have a look again. Yeah,
I was reading something. It said there's a ranger in the background. And Sheridan kind of notices him, and that's a little bit of a
Where was this? Was this on the
I
promenade
didn't see it,
or
but
whatever they call it?
Supposedly, when Sheridan and Garibaldi are walking, they're talking about what they're going to do, and he sees the little red tag, orange tag, whatever it is, to let him know that he's got to meet with his contact. Apparently, there is a ranger in the background as well. So I don't notice that either. So I don't know. Maybe it's not true.
I was kind of looking for stuff like that, and I didn't catch it. But maybe that's who the one is that left the the little mark up there, supposedly. It's kind of interesting that that he knows exactly where to go, though, and I was expecting a trail of them, and when I first saw that first one, I was expecting him to be following one to the next through hallways and corridors.
I think that marker, I didn't understand it at the time. I've since read a book called Inside Delta Force, which goes into some spycraft and the kind of markers and stuff. you'll have in a clandestine organization a load of these markers arranged with what they represent.
Yeah.
So if that ribbon was a couple of centimeters down, it might have been a completely different message. But
And
the
the color.
placement, yeah, it's the color, the placement.
I used to
it
read a bunch of
conveys-
spy novels when I was younger, and this is Cold War dead drops.
Oh, absolutely.
You put something here, and it means meet here at this time, or meet there, or that kind of stuff. So, just on the Ranger, apparently in the part, Garibaldi turns to watch the Ranger. That's when they're talking about the security crew, and it's when the portion where Garibaldi mentions these guys are about as subtle as a brick through a glass window, but they know their stuff. I hate to be on the wrong side with this bunch against me. Garibaldi recognizes the uniform and watches the Ranger go up the stairs. And at the same time, Sheridan notices the red ribbon, ends the conversation, rushes off to meet his contact. So,
Did they see stuff we didn't?
this is what someone has said here is apparently in that. And I got to go back and watch it.
No, I got to go watch it again. See, and
these sound like real fans.
This is like literally. So this episode is one of the first ones that I've only seen once, and most of them I've watched once, and then I've gone back and watched through it again and taken the notes. Watch once to enjoy it and see what and then the second time trying to be more discerning and pay more attention since I know what's going on with the story already. I can pay more focus on different things.
Well, it's very, very easy to miss, apparently.
Yeah. So there's a Ranger. There was a Ranger in two different places, or
no, just that one place.
Okay. I'll have to rewind and do that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to, but I just thought I'd mention.
No. It's fascinating, and that's why I do like sometimes doing that second watch on it, just to see if there's anything I missed the first time around. So when he goes on and he runs it, did we ever get her name? We haven't seen her before, have we?
I think her name is Sarah, but I don't remember her saying it.
But she's credited as being called Sarah. But I'm like you. I don't recall her name ever being mentioned.
Yeah, I don't, because I was like, who is this person?
Right. And so there's some interesting interaction here because she's basically giving Sheridan a nearly impossible task. It's like she's telling it, she's giving him the right course, but it's like, I don't know, you figure it out. It's kind of, he's like, how am I supposed to do that? And she's like, not my problem. I mean, not that she doesn't.
Yeah, it is actually. It's everybody's problem,
right? But she's basically acknowledging, I can't make it happen. I don't have the resources either, and I think that's interesting because it tells you how out ahead of their skis they are with this. Really, they're barely hanging on here.
Yeah, this is early Rebel Alliance type stuff going on here. There's not even an alliance. We're just rebels at this point.
Yeah, right. I kind of didn't really see it that way. Like I was like, I think he's just moaning and bitching about it because of course it's his job to figure it out. Like how's she gonna? She doesn't know the station and how it works and where the cracks are in security and how he might be able to trick this guy. Like he's sort of complaining and saying, "Oh, how do you expect me to do that? Come on." And she's like, "No, it's your job. I mean, come on."
Apparently, a lot of people don't know how the station works because Sheridan hides the fact that they have these scanners on board that can hook into Cranston's
Have
device.
we seen them before? Use them?
They did. There was, what episode was that? Was it with the? Was it with?
What were they looking for?
I don't remember, but I do remember that they tracked somebody using the scanners where they reconfigured them. Was it going all the way back to the Soul Hunter? Maybe.
Yeah, I've just watched the Soul Hunter. I think you're right because there's the scanners have been used a couple of times. Infection was one where they were detecting energy spikes and stuff like that across the station and being able to pinpoint where those spikes were coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in Soul Hunter. I'm pretty sure they did use the scanner there to try and
figure out where it was at, right?
Yeah. No, actually,
you couldn't see
one,
it.
he asked Sinclair asked the Soul Hunter where Death was. and the Solar Hunter pointed to
Yeah,
a point on the
did.
map.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What about was that the creature that hitchhiked on board that they were trying to track down? Maybe
That might have been it too.
Yeah.
But they definitely have done that before. So this is a good callback. But again, it's like, it's like, does anybody know what they actually built out here out on Babylon 5? It's like, yeah, we just threw this stuff in here, I guess, people are in their own thing. It's not necessarily, their deal. But well, also
I want to mention they could have reversed this certain portion of this thing in that they could have put the scanner, the scanners right into there, and then because the doctor has found some way to suppress his crystal that's embedded in him, they got to then search deck by deck, right? Like they could have done it that way. It's another option.
Yeah, but they didn't. Well, so it's kind of jumping to the end, but the way that they fooled it was, obviously by hiding him on Kosh's ship.
Which being an organic thing, it shows as one organism.
Right. But they also would have had to have him in hand to do that. They didn't know where he was either.
Yeah.
So, and we're
who didn't know where he was?
Well, the command staff, Garibaldi and Franklin hadn't tracked him down at the beginning. That happened.
Oh,
later,
yeah.
Which we kind of skipped over that portion a little bit. But I did want to mention about Sarah. She basically laid out why this is important. Because she basically spills the beans. It's like, yeah, he has the information that Clark wasn't sick, which means there was no reason for him to get off of Earth Force One, which brings up the question why, because it just happened to blow up right after that. So
had all of those medical scans on the crystal, which is more than the testimony that they were wanting, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it the sworn testimony that they were after?
They wanted both.
And this is a lot more. This is more information than they had asked for. So but it's still not enough. Well, okay.
Right. Yeah. And they admit that. They're like, this is the beginning of us collecting evidence. So
I think that's a good thing to say. That let's just know that.
God, I hope they made copies and spread it all over.
Yeah, that's
my line.
That was going through my head. I'm like, God, I hope Sheridan has a copy. Hope Garibaldi has a copy. I hope Ivanova has a copy. I hope the doctor has a copy, and I hope that they send it off with the Rangers, so they have a copy.
Well, just like when the security guy that was in on the assassination thing, it's like, oh, well, we sent all the information with him. It's gone now.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Sorry.
The storage is very pricey in Babylon 5 world.
Apparently. Yeah, almost as much as a steak, right?
So, Snob, what do you think? Go around the.
I thought it was. Sorry, I thought it was a little strange that they're like, oh, scan the Vorlon ship. I mean, didn't they say at the beginning that we've scanned this ship 1,000,000 times and we can't get through it? Mm-hmm. So I'm just surprised that Cranston was even. Why not just they're like, oh, I want to scan the ship, and Sheridan's like, I don't think we should do that diplomatic incident. Well, do it anyway. Maybe is he lying about that? Because
I think that they might, if they said we can't scan the Vorlon ship, then it would have made them say,
made them suspicious and wanted to.
Well, I mean, the Vorlons are not going to let people go on their ship. I mean, geez.
The ship's not going to let people go on their ship.
Well, but
forget the Vorlons.
Okay, but if it would have caused them to have say there's something we don't know about here. It's like, well, all other explanations were saying he's here, he's nowhere else except for this one thing we don't know. It's like Superman. It's like, yeah, you could hide something under lead, and he sees a giant block of lead that he goes, oh, well, maybe that's where the thing is, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why. The thing is,
that's a good point.
They drew the thing is they drew attention to the ship by it leaving, by him wanting to leave, which of course they were timing this whole thing and Sheridan kind of,
I assume they did that as well.
Well, it's called the prime time. You gotta make sure that everything's just so.
Yeah. But I mean, when you think about it, the ship really didn't even have to leave.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. That's what I'm thinking.
I was wondering about that too.
I mean, if they can't scan through the ship, what's the difference?
Well, yeah. So it is a little confusing to me because, like you said, if they just would have said, okay, do the scan, they see nothing, just don't mention the ship at all. And it's like, yeah, he's hiding there, and it's a blank spot, but the Cranston didn't know that it's a blank spot. It presumably wouldn't have shown up on the scan. Now, how they did scan it though when it was in space, and it came back with a result. So, if it can't be scanned, then how did they fake that?
Maybe they might have had assistance with Kosh on doing that too.
Maybe.
Again, it's stuff that was kind of skipped over.
The more I think about it, the more that's a good point. The ship didn't have to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes care of half of the problem that we have with that arc, where that whatever that missing scene is that Sheridan gets Kosh to cooperate. If you're scanning and you're scanning I'm assuming that the scans in the station will skip the ambassadorships, and maybe the ship leaving and coming back is supposed to be the big flash that gets everybody's attention and reinforces, because what it does basically, you get Cranston's reaction. I think more than anything else, that ship nobody said that ship could leave.
One life form, yeah.
And so you're basically taking away an option for him. So, they do the scan. There's no radiation from a crystal anywhere for whatever. By the way, they did that in Star Trek at one point on the episode Bread and Circuses. They had a little implant they hypo sprayed under the wrist in case their communicators got lost. These were the backup things. So it's not a new idea here. But the the ship leaving is a distraction for Cranston, because he's not on the station. Where could he be? And the ship leaves, and it's a new shiny. It's like, oh, wait a minute, that who said that ship could leave? And so he's concentrating now on one spot. There's nothing on the ship. There's an alien on there, not a human. And so Cranston gets that bone dangled in front of him, but you can't have it. And it's not on whoever we're looking for is not on that ship, and he's not on the station, so he must not be there. And that gives Sheridan the opportunity to do the whole, you guys have turned out my station, and we're really upset now because you've completely wasted the time of everybody on the crew. Yeah. And how dare you, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself. So Cranston leaves with his tail between his legs. I think having Kosh's ship leave and come back, and to be able to scan it, see, not only that, it also puts them in an untenable position, because Sheridan's sitting there going, do you really want me to scan an ambassador ship? Okay, I can, but it's on you. And so now he's got something he can hold over Cranston because he can embarrass him. And Cranston's like, well, no, hold on, no. So I think that whole thing is there to take away the option. But again, there's that scene that's missing.
Yeah, right.
That we don't earn that payoff simply with the first conversation between Kosh and Sheridan.
Right.
There's something in the middle that didn't get there.
I do wonder whether, the missing scene, I think, was very important to this, because the B plot was all about getting to understand, getting to know who you are, who the Vorlons are. And I do wonder whether the ship leaving was Kosh's way of giving information to Sheridan, sharing something of who the Vorlon are in response to Sheridan agreeing to let the Vorlons understand who he is. And it's that exchange of information, because at the end of it, they say it's now confirmed. Vorlons have organic ships. They've been able to scan it. It detected as a life form, an alien life form. Mm-hmm. So they now have proof that the Vorlons use organic living ships. So maybe that missing scene was the one that, the exchange between Kosh and Sheridan, it could have revealed that the ship leaving the station had to be done. It might have been on Kosh's insistence, so that Sheridan could learn something about him.
Yeah. It's interesting. I really kind of look forward, to learning more about the Vorlons. They kind of they whet our appetites for it. They've been stringing us along for so long, and now we finally got a little taste now, and
more like
the
a crumb.
Yeah, just
Barely
not
a
even a
taste.
morsel, just a. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I only some episodes I take 3 pages of notes, and this one I barely got to 1 finished. So I don't know if it's just, and it seems like the ones that seem to go really quick, they take the same amount of time. I don't know if it's just the better ones that are like that or what.
Well, there's no real solid B plot.
Yeah, it's kind of thready. It's in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what next, Cam?
Well, that's about it.
That's it. All right. You got it about that? All right, I got some points.
Okay.
Now, first of all, at the beginning, they say, like, I've kind of, in past episodes, I've kind of said, Earth Alliance seems a little bit, a little less freedom-oriented than at our present time. And, they say that, they've like Sheridan says, when they say that they want Jacobs dead or alive, he says something like they've authorized extreme sanction against civilians, and he's like kind of surprised, but like it's the against civilians like that he's so apparently extreme sanction is a normal thing that they do, but it's kind of not normal that they do against civilians. Is that what he's trying to tell us? Like, what the hell is going on in Earth Alliance? They just assassinate people on, bring them back dead or alive. Is this the Wild West?
Wanted. That's what, dead or alive. That's what I had the theme song going back through my head there. Bon Jovi playing in my head.
Am I being too... Am I too wishy-washy? Come on.
To me,
you guys didn't notice that?
Somebody it would be more of a wanted alive if possible, if at all possible. If it was a serious threat, you would want to catch that person and interrogate them, right? Be able to find out who they, who they're working with, find out their co-conspirators, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
You would think
the whatever, the 29th century or whatever it is, version of waterboarding. I mean,
this incident's going in my book.
Let's vibroboard them. Vibroboarding, right? Isn't it vibro showers they have? We'll just vibroboard them.
This is going in my book of crimes against humanity that the Earth Alliance is carrying out. Extreme sanctions against people, civilians or not. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it was very clear that those guys were supposed to be the equivalent of the Secret Service. That's what they were playing them out to be.
Yeah, that's what I think it is too. But
I mean,
Garibaldi beats
Black,
people up all the time.
Yeah.
This is a bit of the Wild West here. Extreme sanction.
Yeah.
No one else had a problem with that. Everyone else, you guys are all like, okay, go.
I thought it was kind of a corny thing to say, but it was like extreme sanctions. Wait, death is an extreme sanction? Okay.
Well,
I guess it's the most extreme.
It's a euphemism. It's like with extreme prejudice. You don't go right from the right straight forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then you have plausible deniability.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I guess no one is as upset about me as any of that. Now, what about Garibaldi shooting around the Max guy? He shot around him a bunch of times
with his arm that was stabbed, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like,
you must be a lefty.
Tell me the thing. I'm going to shoot beside your head a bunch of times.
How many rounds does he have in that thing? or is it unlimited? They can't be unlimited because
No, they
they've
got
run out
caps.
they've run out of them before.
Yeah. I think it was all part of his intimidation of Max to get that information, showing he was willing to shoot on board the station, and he will eventually, hit something that's precious to Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Max.
Like his face.
Yeah.
Or Max himself.
Because it would look like it was
Indeed.
going right beside his head. I mean, it was pretty
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
You twitch the wrong way, and the guy's missing his noggin.
Yeah. Well, and those weapons, it was a PPGs, right? So
Yeah.
but he came over. I got a kick out of seeing the buddy cop moment, with Garibaldi and Franklin.
What
gumshoes on the detectives on the beat there. Yeah.
What about Garibaldi's disguise? Jason's disguise.
Yeah. Oh, is that who you were supposed to be? I thought you were supposed to be Tom Baker.
Why would I be
come on,
Tom
man.
Baker on a Babylon 5 show?
I don't know. It didn't make much sense to me either.
Well, he put on the hat, and I looked at Minnie and said, "I got a reason to wear my hat tonight."
There you go.
I actually thought that Garibaldi's reasoning to Franklin was somewhat reasonable. Right?
They see the badge.
They see the
right?
badge.
They don't
He
see
doesn't
my
go down there
face.
much. I think the hat was a little, humorous nod they threw in there as, just a little extra. And I'm in disguise. But
I was just waiting for somebody to say, you don't fit around here. You're too well dressed for. Kind of like they did the doctor, what's his name, Jacobs or whatever. Yeah, your clothes are too nice. You don't belong here. What do you got? Let's see. Yeah. So, but I thought that was. And did you notice that Franklin had a hard time opening up the whatever that bar was? It was one of those soft bars that they came out with. That's very, very reminiscent of.
Oh, the little granola bar thing.
Well, yeah, it's the soft ones though.
Yeah,
I remember when they came out, and I had flashbacks to that packaging.
Yeah.
Like, really, they haven't improved the
a
packaging.
fig bar or something like that.
Yeah.
Jerry Dole is trying to get his open the entire time they're talking until he finally gets it out.
And Franklin's sitting there shaking it, and then it's not even opened.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are always fun when the props go wrong. When, something happens that the props don't work, but you still gotta make it work. It's like
I wonder if they grabbed them off the cart.
Yeah, it could be.
That's the type of thing.
Services.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like in Dark Knight when Heath Ledger is coming out of the hospital and he's pushing the buttons and the pyrotechnics, to blow up the building.
Yeah.
It starts and then it stops because they had a misfire, they had a malfunction.
Yeah.
And Ledger, instead of breaking, he stays in character and starts improvising at that point. When he turns back around to the building and he's like waving his arms, he's like, what's the deal? And then when it goes off, he stays in character. You just got to make it work.
He never broke character.
He never broke character. And in this particular thing, you've got Jerry Dole and you got what's his name, Franklin, messing with these little granola bar wrappers.
Yeah.
And you got to keep going in the scene. But at the same time, you're sitting and fighting these things, and it's like, is somebody going to call cut, or are we just going to keep going? And
they just kept fiddling.
The director is like, just keep going. You can just tell. He says, let's just see what happens. And it's a silly little bit because in real life, sometimes those kind of things happen, right?
Yeah. But both of them had issues.
Both of them.
At the same time.
Yeah. So it's just a little bit of business for.
Do you think that was them sitting there and eating, taking a break was intentional, or do you think it was Doyle was like, this is kind of weird. We would be taking a break because been walking around for 6 hours, right? That's what he said.
Well, he does say, you got to eat and keep up your strength, because he's talking about, doing steakhouse and that kind of thing. This is what he's done before. And so, yeah, the food pack or whatever is a scripted element. They're not improvising that off. Hey, let's just grab these things off of craft services and do this.
I'm sure they did, though.
It's a little bonding time between
but it wasn't an improvised thing. It's in the script that they're eating something.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's
I'll bet you the prop, they tried it with a prop, and it just didn't fit. I'll bet you that's what it was. And so they're like, hey, what about these? Well, let's try that scene with these. I bet you that's what happened.
The other thing too is it looks like they're trying to open them without making a whole lot of noise with the cellophane.
Right.
Because you got to have clean dialogue.
Right.
The microphones are right there, and if you have this, through the whole thing, try to open the package, you're gonna end up busting the take, and you got to do it all over again.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard enough doing a take when you have food involved anyway, because you've got to eat it in a way that doesn't get picked up, doesn't make a disgusting noise, and then on top of that, you're trying to remember your lines whilst manipulating a very, keeping it quiet, but an object that really doesn't want to be opened unless you put a bit of force in there. Yeah, it was a difficult scene for them to probably film.
Yeah. I've seen some of the. I don't know if it was Untested or one of those where they were talking about how I think Adam Savage was at one of the prop houses where they actually make stuff like that, where they make paper bags that don't make any noise.
Oh, wow.
It was kind of fascinating. It's like, and it looks like a real shopping bag, like you would get in a grocery store, a paper bag or whatever, but it's made out of a different material, but it just it looks like it. And in this case though, that thing, it looked like, I mean, it looked exactly like what it was.
Yeah.
And I swear it was the real thing right off craft services.
Yeah. It's a Fig Newton bar or something.
Yeah. And that's about the time they came out. So, I mean, we know they have Zemo there in the future. So,
right.
No. What did you think about the fight scene with Garibaldi and Franklin? Franklin,
he did a high kick or something, didn't he?
Franklin got in a lick there.
Yeah.
A hammer fist or something, and plus something else.
Yeah, not too bad.
No, he's a tough guy now.
Doc's got a
first time I've seen him beat up somebody. I think
they stole that idea from Strange New Worlds, putting Mbenga in the Klingon War. Or something.
Who? What? Huh?
Nothing. I just.
what was that, Jason?
Well, no, because Strange New Worlds has Dr. Mbenga. Okay, and he's a doctor, but he also went through the Klingon War and knows how to fight.
Oh, okay.
It was an offhand, backhanded reference to Strange New Worlds doing all
they
these
jumped back. Let me guess, they went in a slingshot around the sun so they could go back into time.
Yes, Babylon 5 stole
into a different show.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because if you look at Strange New Worlds, they're stealing ideas from every other thing under the sun for this season. So
they're doing everything to call back to something.
Don't know, haven't watched it.
You got to be paying attention here.
I haven't seen a single episode.
Brilliant references. I'm very esoteric that way.
And I just forget stuff. I got CRS, so it's the
you don't forget. You just don't pay attention. You just say, what did I miss? What happened? What happened?
And you make fun of me for taking notes.
You remind me sometimes. Yeah, I don't know if you remember. You might remember. You're old enough. Do you remember the cartoon Deputy Dog?
Yes.
So there was the possum, the blind possum, and every time some wild thing happened, possum was, what happened? What happened? What happened?
Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah.
What did I miss?
Now, what about Max, the criminal in this episode?
Are we going to see him again?
I don't know.
I'm like,
I wouldn't think so, but
he's probably a one-off. Yeah.
Oh, you never know.
And his sidekick, the one,
The old guy.
the one that they beat up.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Max was believable. He seemed a fairly reasonable,
He was wearing those Oakleys.
Low-level criminal from down below. Yes,
yeah.
no?
What about Hometown? We didn't even talk about Hometown.
Downtown?
You mean
Downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
that was a very having to burn through how many bulkheads and not
47.
once did
47.
47. You wrote
I wrote that down.
And not once did did Krennic actually use his brain and go, if we're burning through these bulkheads, how did the good
that's what
get
I
in
said. I'm like, if they have to burn through the bulkheads, how the hell did somebody get there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Somebody already did. Well, you burn through, then you melt it in behind you. And
no, okay, yeah. While you're on the run,
sure.
Can't you tell how old a weld is? Like if it's relatively new or not?
Well, you could tell if it's been removed and replaced pretty easily. Okay, can I bring up one thing that? Well, maybe I should save it for the summary. That's okay.
Oh, bring it up.
All right,
Well,
don't leave us hanging.
Oh, I was going to say that, in terms of the story, I don't think it was beneficial for. I think they got a little too cutesy with the. Oh, we just forgot to tell you about that thing. It made them. Cranston picked up on it. He's like, it's like, wait, you didn't tell me about this? Why? And he kind of blew it off and pushed Ivanova to explain
A, B, C, D.
Yeah, but that's not credible. If you're someone who has an inkling that you're being misled by the people on Babylon 5, that was a pretty big red flag. And I think it doesn't lend to the credibility of them being on Earth Force's side. I think that would have shown up in a report pretty strongly.
Yeah.
It said these guys are playing games with us here.
Yeah, and Ivanova's comment about flies and honey and stuff would be like, that's not really. Well, you didn't ask me nicely, so I didn't do it for you. Like that's not really very.
I don't know. My mom used to say stuff like that.
Yeah, your mom, not the military.
Sure, but yeah, it's like this is not something they can afford to be playing games with, right?
Right, because this is.
They needed to play this a lot straighter, and it. Yeah, and Sheridan kind of plays it off as, oh well, you've turned my station upside down, so get out of here.
And that part was believable, though. I think I could see that
him being angry about it is, but
you wasted our time, all my people's time.
It would have worked better if they hadn't kind of left themselves open to suspicion with the scanner thing.
What they should have done is suggested the scan at some point sooner, maybe.
Yeah.
Once they had him and they knew they had a plan and had already had him hit, they said, "Hey, we can interface this." And
Sheridan could have hit. I mean, I agree with that, Jeff. But also Sheridan could have hit the whole. You've slowed down the station. It's cost us X million credits in lost revenue because there's been, you've been searching everywhere. All these ships have been delayed. Everything's off.
They're going to fix that next episode, though.
He could have made
merchandising.
He could have pushed that aspect of it, as well as the disrupting his security staff.
But yeah, that's
the money thing would have been a big,
that would have cost. Yeah, but I expect the president to, try and pull to get more funding for the station or something like that. To reimburse us for these, the expenses that we had to go through and lost time and revenue and whatnot, because they were slowing traffic down too, right? So, the imports and exports coming to and from the station were affected. The travel,
and that has an overall economic impact outside the station.
Yeah, it could be a huge economic impact. I mean, look at when you have got a port, and if you all right, nothing's coming into the port for the next 12 hours.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Screws up everything for weeks. I think Kay Roberts has a good point here. Very realistic, but I just thought Ivanova's comments about, you didn't ask me nicely. I can just imagine, telling the sergeant, go take that hill. No, only if you ask me nicely, Colonel, or whatever. That's not going to fly.
I will point out. Sorry, Dean. I was going to point out that that's also pre-Homeland Security concept, where you remember that back. Well, now it is 9/11. Back then, before then, the FBI would do its own thing, and and so you had a lot of
that wall
discooperation between agencies. So
I don't think that's really true. There was, there's always some cooperation between agencies.
No,
but there's a competitiveness.
There's a little bit of a competitiveness.
No. Let me stop you there, because this came out during the 9/11 hearings. That prior to that, both CIA, FBI, NSA, there was very limited interagency cooperation because there were restrictions in place on what they could share with each other information wise, because of their various different charters and jurisdictions.
Yeah.
And here in the United States, they were restricted from cooperating with each other because the CIA cannot operate inside the United States.
Still not supposed to.
The FBI is only within the United States, or if their investigation goes to like military bases or whatever, it's only U.S. territory. So there's various different restrictions on where these different agencies can operate, and because of that, at that point, is what they were that was what they were calling the wall. Right. It was a barrier, a communication barrier that says that you can't talk to this agency over here. If you've got this information, you can't share it with them because you don't have the jurisdiction to do it. That actually was a real thing that came out in 9/11. So
they were also competing for budgets too.
Well, yeah, but I can totally see in something like this, this being a pre 9/11 show,
right?
That very much those agencies would not be communicating with each other, or they'd be competing with each other, and not cooperating because they were adversarial.
Yeah, but you're talking about intelligence collection area. This is like two different police forces working together to solve a crime. That's completely different. There's a lot more.
Have you not seen any police television show where the feds show up to take over the case and the local cops are like, oh crap, the feds are here, they're gonna screw everything up?
Yep.
Every cop show does that. Whenever you get federal agencies coming in, and I'm sure that some of the locals in Charlotte, North Carolina, are saying the same thing.
I was getting ready to say it happened with FEMA here in Tennessee and in North Carolina.
Exactly the same kind of thing. Anytime the feds show up, the locals sit there and go, "All right, well, this is going to take longer now."
Yeah, but of course, and that's a trope in stories,
but it's
reality. That's reality. That happens here all the time.
It happens, but it kind of depends on the personalities, and there can be cooperation between various groups, and if as long as you don't come in acting like, that's why Ivanova is saying that if you don't come in acting like a jerk and throwing your weight around, you can usually get help from the locals, and if you're a little bit respectful, things can work out a little bit. But
so you guys with national police forces,
listen to you all Pollyanna tonight.
I know, snob Pollyanna,
right? Snob. That's not the reality here in the United States.
I know. I've experienced it. I know what the reality. Not in the United States, but I know what the reality is.
You get that on a local level with the state agencies.
There's always some
and the local agencies
between agencies and that sort of thing. But it doesn't have to be. I don't think that what I'm suggesting is that he comes in and Sheridan agrees to work with him and operate with him, and Sheridan still has Kay Roberts is mentioning about it. He still has control of his, resources, but he redirects Sheridan redirects his own resources because Cranston comes in, and he comes in a very, he comes in a somewhat positive way where he's like, listen, I need your help with this. We got to do this. We got to do that. He doesn't come in, throw his weight around and say, hey, you're going to do this. You're going to do that. So Sheridan cooperates with him. Cranston acts appropriately, which is kind of the reason why I'm a little, weird. I found it strange where Ivanova suggests that he was kind of, you didn't ask nicely, so that's why we didn't tell you about this. Because Cranston comes in pretty good, and I think Sheridan's reaction is reasonable. The guy doesn't throw his weight around. He doesn't get his back up. So that's my point. It's very much, there's separation, and there's always some competition between these agencies, but they can work together on a personal level if they've both, hey, this is an important thing to do. We can work together. Everybody's being nice to each other. You're not trying to throw your weight around. It can work out. That's my point.
I think the one thing we've missed is that you're talking not about two civilian agencies here. You're talking about the military, which is under a completely different chain of command, and a civilian agency, a secret service. Right. So there is probably not many protocols in place on inter cooperation. And indeed, you never know that this might come up again in a future episode where a civilian agency is trying to give the military orders.
Foreshadowing.
The cooperation, you've got the Secret Service guy going in. He can't order the military because Babylon 5 is under military jurisdiction. He can't order the military to do what he wants them to do. So he's got to go in very kindly and very nicely. And I think at the end, Ivanova saying what she's saying is almost look, we didn't have to cooperate with you. You came onto our turf, onto our area of control. So yeah, you didn't ask nicely. We're not going to go the extra mile to help you. And I think it was that kind of veiled, remember where your lane is. Remember where our lane is. You're on our turf.
Yeah, PB has got it right. It's a perspective thing. But
I don't agree. I mean, it's there is some
there's some aspect to that. It's okay. We still love you.
There's some aspect to that, of course, and I think Dean makes some good points. Now that said, of course, Cranston wants to come in and he wants to work with them at Babylon 5. Do they have to work with them? No. Now, worst
he doesn't
case
have
scenario,
enough manpower. He wants to.
I mean, they're there on the orders of the president. The president, if he gets a lot of pushback, Cranston's going to go to the president, and the president's going to go to the military, and they're going to say, "Hey, Sheridan,
you need to do this.
You
is
do
that
what
an
he
order,
says."
Sir? Yes.
And Sheridan knows that, and Sheridan's going to lose any. Like, if they have to go the hard way, then they're just going to say, "You do whatever that Cranston tells you," and then now Sheridan's lost all of it.
But that shines a spotlight on what they're doing at that point, and they're trying to keep this as low key as possible.
It's true. QT on the down low.
True, but the military would probably already know anyway.
Because he even kind of threatened him a little bit with that. But if it's
important enough,
the diplomatic incident.
Yeah, if it's important enough to send the guy there, then the president is probably willing to have to order Sheridan if he has to. I mean, he probably doesn't want to, but
I don't know. Do they answer the president or do they answer to these senators that we keep on hearing from all the time?
I don't know.
Well, okay, stop and consider though how much of this operation is officially sanctioned and would be okay if it ever came to light. Because if this whole thing centers around Clark being involved in some kind of a conspiracy to assassinate his boss, then you don't want a whole lot of attention on Cranston and what Cranston's trying to do either. So you do want to keep it low key. You don't want to be the strong arming Sheridan into doing what he needs to do. And Sheridan's not going to force the issue because Sheridan's working off of an agenda that nobody knows about too.
Right.
So
there's some limited people with knowledge, but yeah.
So, they already suspect that there's some kind of a thing going on with with the assassination of the president. We all know it's not an accident, but now
Because
you have the
purple.
added question of whether or not Clark was involved in order to get the job, and who's running him. It's same as like we were talking about earlier about a certain particular president being run by a certain particular intelligence agency, not of the U.S. And it's it's the same kind of thing here. Is Clark being is Clark
In control, or is he a puppet?
Exactly.
I think
and if anything comes to light that he's part of this one way or the other, that's a quote
He could be the
unquote all
fall guy.
capital letters bad thing.
He could be the fall guy too.
Yeah, so they don't want a whole lot of attention on this thing.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get the federales coming in there stomping around all over the place, even though they're disrupting operations on the station for as long as they're there searching around for this guy.
Yeah.
Well,
there's already questions going to be asked.
The military must know that they're there. I mean, otherwise General Haig wouldn't have sent his little his
what's her name? What's
Sarah.
her name again?
Well,
Sarah.
they know
So
he's
they know
there
about
because they know about it because he was supposed to meet on IO and he bailed. He panicked and he ran, and so they said, "Well, he didn't make his. He didn't make his rendezvous.
He missed his
came out here
rendezvous
instead."
Yeah. Probably he freaked out because they were on his tail. I think it was even implied that was the case.
Yeah, that's exactly what the conversation was. Is like he got spooked and he bailed out and he came here instead of making his meeting.
Took the first transport out. Yeah.
I just think that I mean the if that was, I would say the president is probably willing to order, go through the route to order Sheridan to do whatever Cranston tells him if he has to. Otherwise, the suggestion, if that's not the suggestion, you think General Haig would come to and say, hey, just tell him you're not going to operate. And, the president's too scared because this is too sensitive to order you to do anything. So we'll just solve the problem that way. Tell Cranston you're not going to do nothing for him.
If you do that, then Sheridan, because if you do that, then Sheridan can be removed from his position because he's in the chain of command.
Yep.
And and at that point, if he's refusing an order and he's insubordinate, he can be kicked out.
He's not refusing an order because he's not in the chain of command with Cranston, right?
Nobody's in the chain of command from the president.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm saying that
you're just because you're just now making the point that ultimately the president could order Sheridan to cooperate if he's not going to.
Yeah, exactly.
And if Sheridan says, "Well, no, I'm not going to," he can be removed as the
you guys are
commander of the station.
He would do that because he's not going to order Sheridan because it's too. He doesn't want people to know about it.
No, but you just said that if Sheridan were to not cooperate, then Clark could order him to cooperate.
Yeah, that's my view. That's my view. I'm suggesting that it's not. This is not so that Clark is obviously not so worried about. I mean, he wants to keep it quiet, but I think he's willing to go the mile, which is why Sheridan should try to operate, because Clark was willing to go up to the military and all the way down to force Sheridan. This way, Sheridan gets he's able to operate as in a more of a partnership with Cranston instead of being told do whatever he says. That gives him the flexibility.
Well, we've had the do whatever he says come in previous episodes
to sabotage it. Yeah, and exactly, we've had the do what he says come in previous episodes.
And what happened? What happened?
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah. The crew is very not happy about that, but at any rate, interesting perspectives. Ironically, we got into a debate about that. So, overall though,
well, I've got to disagree with Snob about something every episode.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, of course.
I mean, really, because he's wrong about something every episode.
Yeah. And don't forget, you have to be pedantic every now and again.
I got one for Cam. Did you notice the Spyderco that Max?
I did.
You did?
I think it's called the Matriarch. It's got the curved tip on it.
Yeah,
I actually have a knife similar to that.
Yeah.
The knife that Max has.
Mm-hmm. He uses on his fingernails or something. It's obviously a Spyderco. I didn't know which one.
Absolutely.
All right, but Cam, of course, knows. That's good. Yeah. All right.
Where did they film Babylon 5 at? Was it filmed in
space?
Was it? Yeah. Right.
I don't know where was it filmed.
Let me look it up.
California or Canada?
I don't think it was in Canada.
I don't think it was Canada.
That was before they did a lot of stuff in Canada.
It's probably Burbank.
Yeah.
All right. Does anything else anybody wants to mention about the episode? I think I covered all my my points.
Like I said, I made a list, and we've pretty much gone through everything. Let's see. He went to Harvard, special orders.
No,
he would. Let's see. Kosh went whoosh.
Sun Valley, Los Angeles, California.
Clark's convenient illness. Jacob knows the truth. Oh, you want some mayo on that? I wrote that down too. Want mayo on that? That was Garibaldi saying that, right, to somebody.
Yeah.
That was a snarky response. You got to have a few snarky responses from Garibaldi every episode.
Wasn't that Sheridan to Sarah?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Sheridan. Yeah.
You want me on that as well?
Yeah.
You want me to do all that? Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess if we got nothing else, then let's sum up your thoughts on the episode overall. Dean, real quick, if you want to get a rating or something, you can.
Absolutely. I think as an episode, it definitely wasn't one of the worst, but I don't think it was anywhere near one of the better. It's kind of a middle ground. I'd give it probably about a 7 out of 10.
All right. Jeff?
Yeah, I was going with about a 7 out of 10 as well. There was a couple of things that we already mentioned. Jason and I both kind of pointed out. I'm guessing both of you guys, the rest of you guys, saw it too, where it's like they kind of something's missing from they skipped a couple of scenes. I did find it funny that they were filling with the little health energy bars or whatever they were supposed to be. I did like the fact that we learned a little bit more about the Vorlons. I hope we get to learn a lot more sooner than later, but yeah, I mean, it was really kind of a 7 out of 10.
Okay, Jason.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at. 7 out of 10. The minor quibbles with the prop and the scene that's missing. I do like the fact that we're finally paying attention to Kosh a little bit more to try to figure that out. But for the most part, this is a functional episode to get us from point A to point B. I think it's not a whole lot of story.
Right.
It moves the ball down the field, but this is like a handoff to the fullback just to get us over first down. It's not throwing the Hail Mary down to the end of the end zone or anything. This is just gets us down just a little bit further with the plot and the conspiracy and just a couple of more breadcrumbs on the trail. So there's not a whole lot here, meat on the bones. It's just this, and it really does bug me that we're missing that scene to get the doctor on the ship,
right?
Because that feels like it's tacked on. It's not quite Deus Ex Machina, but it is ish.
Yeah, I can't disagree with what Jason said there, and Dean as well. I would put this at more like a 6.5. I think it was not a particularly well executed episode. I think some of the ideas are excellent and important. You've got forwarding the conspiracy with the death of Santiago, and you have delving into the Vorlons, both of which deserve better, honestly. I think, so the ideas were great, but the execution, I think, was very poor in general. Not horrible, but not I'd say below average. So, but
mid, maybe.
Yeah, mid. Okay, yeah, let's say mid. So a 6.5 is about as high as I can go.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, Cam basically stole my my stuff too. I like what we're moving with the Vorlons and the conspiracy. I like seeing that the conspiracy's operating, and it seems to be operating, fairly reasonably with some of the old Cold War spycraft stuff going on and that kind of thing. But we're still getting very little on the Vorlons. But I'm hoping that they're pacing it out for us, that they know what they're doing. But it's I would say it's a mid. I wouldn't say it was the execution of the episode was very poor, but I would say it could have been a little bit better with some of the little problems that we talked about and suggestions. But it wasn't very poor. It was average, right in there. So yeah, I'm gonna agree.
But what do you think? Are you going with the 6 or 7 or?
Yeah, I would probably go like Cam with like a 6.5. 6.57. Yeah, those are all probably if I had to nail down a number, I'd probably go with 6.5.
I'm always trying to get to nail down a number.
It was a little bit
yeah. And this was
not bad though. I enjoyed it overall. Even though there was some questionable story choices, but those are kind of minor things.
I mean, we are talking what 4 or 5 years after the fall of the Berlin Wall, so yeah, I could see that whole mentality still being in there. I mean, we've talked about that too before with where the Centauri are basically kind of an analog for the Soviet Union in the falling and the Roman Empire falling and so on and so forth. So, but the spy thing, was still fresh on everybody's minds at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how much. We always talk about that. We always put it in the time frame it's in. I'm not sure how much that informed Straczynski in his writing. I mean,
I think it influenced him a lot.
I'm sure it has some effect, but I'm not. I'd have to ask him.
I'm not sure I don't think it's as overt as some of the other stuff. I mean, you look at Battlestar Galactica, for example, post 9/11. The stuff that they did in the time after the time jump when they're on the planet that's occupied by the Cylons. After 9/11, that show got a lot more preachy and ideologically driven than it should have. So, and I'm not picking up anything like that in this show. And really, I don't know that there was that much. I mean, yeah, the fall of the Berlin Wall and all of that was going on, the significant, essentially the collapse of the Soviet Union. But I don't feel a whole lot of influence on this show from current events of the time, really.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Jason there. I mean, these, some of these things, like, when I mentioned spycraft, well, I mean, they've been doing that. They were doing that since the 50s and
sure,
even before. It's not like it's just yesterday. Oh, we copied all this, but and some of these tropes that we see in science fiction or in television shows have been around for years. It's not. I mean, there's inevitably some effect of what's going on in the world that will affect writers because they are. People of the
They're
world,
people.
but I don't. I don't see anything in Babylon 5 specifically that is sort of. Most of the things I think are fit into the role of general science fiction tropes and those kind of areas, and not specifically because it's 1995 when this is being made.
or
94, or whatever.
Yeah, but anyway, Cam, did you have something?
I wasn't sure I understood Jason. Battlestar Galactica, the new series came up, after 9/11 was, in the past. So I think you're right. They are referencing that sort of thing. Yeah. But it was fully, it started completely after that.
Right, but I'm just saying that no, I'm not saying that 9/11 happened during the show. I'm saying when they get to the time jump and they're doing the occupied stuff, they leaned into that quite a bit.
Yeah, you're right. You're
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
At that point, we're what in
Yeah,
Iraq
because
and
we weren't.
Afghanistan and
Yeah, how far after 9/11 was that season?
that one was probably 2000. I'm guessing
06 or 7.
2006 or 2006, 2007 maybe.
Okay.
And it would make sense that support at that point was waning, and it was people were wanting, let's get out of there. Influenced by media, yeah. I do think that the media, but the whole spy thing was kind of a big thing. It was the cloak and dagger going back and forth between us versus them, the West versus the East, and that was big in that, as I said, 2 decades, 20 years before that.
I would agree with Kay Roberts that I think it's generally speaking, everything in the prior two decades, excuse me, was much more influencing him as opposed to anything that was happening within 1 or 2 years of when he's writing the show.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. That up until 1989. Yeah, the previous 2 decades, you include the 80s and
Yep.
all of that stuff. Mr. Gorbachev tear down that wall. we're talking like it finally came down. But most of the people that remember it going up and all the cloak and dagger stuff, and that happened before most of us were born, was when that stuff started. So. I know I wasn't alive when the Berlin Wall was built. So,
okay, all right.
And I'm old.
62 Berlin Wall. Okay, so let's go trivia. What do we got for our trivia questions? I'm going to take the chat off. All right. So here are the questions for next week. Where is Kosh's ship docked on Babylon 5? Where does Sheridan say that Jacobs might be hiding? Mm-hmm. What does Kosh want to teach Sheridan to do? How many times does Garibaldi shoot Max before Max handed over the data crystal? And what class did Franklin get a 3.7 in? Not a 4.0.
He said 4.0. I think we covered most of those. I think we covered most of those.
I think we covered most of them as well.
Or at least I don't. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Okay, gentlemen. Yeah, good show. Promos. Do you have anything before we jump off? Dean, we'll start with you. Anything going on that you want people to know about?
At the moment, I'm designing a role-play game, Untold Destiny, but just follow me on X and you'll get all the links to everything around that. I think that's more conversation for another time. But otherwise, big fan, sci-fi, fantasy, you name it, big fan.
All right, great, thanks. Jeff.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to put this stuff in here, man. No, I've got a couple of things I got to do. One for the ham radio thing, and then I did. So if you're interested in ham radio, you can sub to my channel, Ham Radio Rejects, and eventually my Tennessee Tabletop Tavern channel will have some stuff up on it too. So that's I'm working on a couple of things for Jason. Hopefully, we'll be able to get something going on that pretty soon. And I don't know. I should probably kick it to him. Hopefully, Mrs. Boss is recovering well.
She's getting there.
Yeah. Jason, what's going on?
Really not anything yet. We don't have a show tomorrow because I've got to work. Probably do something on Friday. Today I talked about the new Star Trek series that dropped this week, and possible indicators that Kurtzman is out. So we'll see how that progresses.
One can hope, right?
Next week, I'm hoping to get Paul DeGarabedian on here to talk about box office stuff, and I'm working on some other things. I'm hoping that maybe I can get one of the producers of Star Trek Scouts on the show as well. So we'll see. We'll be making announcements on socials as things develop. So stay tuned.
Jimmy Neutron meets Star Trek.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what it looked like to me. I mean, the voice even sounded like Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, and it's finally got a listing on IMDb, but there's hardly anything there. But this thing's a Nickelodeon digital project, and it's not Secret Hideout at all. And
good for them.
I want to ask somebody how they managed to pull this off. So
without anybody knowing?
Well, without anybody knowing that it was coming, but also without having to go through Secret Hideout, because all this time we've been under the impression that Secret Hideout had an exclusive license for producing Star Trek. Mm-hmm. So how were they able to do this? That's what I want to know. So the producer, Mark Cantoni, he just connected with me on LinkedIn, so I'm assuming that we're probably going to start messaging back and forth. We'll see what happens.
Good deal.
Yeah.
All right, Cam.
Well, first, I just want to thank Dean for coming in and getting up very early to do so.
6 a.m. now.
Well, yeah, so regular get up at time. And the things you mentioned, I did sub to your channel on YouTube, and I'm going to be checking out that stuff because it's kind of in my wheelhouse. Otherwise,
yeah,
it's Jack's channel, but
Jack's
he does
channel.
amazing content.
So for those that don't know, Jack is also on Nerdcognito, which is a Rumble exclusive, and I help Ryan and the rest of them out on the Discord too. So
great. But next week we will have episode 14. There All the Honor Lies, written by Peter David, who recently passed away, and he had another episode earlier in the season, I believe, or late last season, maybe it was. Yeah. In any case, we'll be doing that next week. And on Sunday we have Top Lofty Lounge, where we will have another guest talking about 4X games, I believe.
4X?
Yeah, video games. 4X, Grand Strategy. Al from Critical Moves podcast is going to be on the show, and we're going to talk about that stuff and see how it goes. And then the week after, we're back with movie night the next Sunday. And I think I pretty much decided we had an even split for the vote. And I think we're going to go with Dragon Slayer. It's an older movie. So we'll do that.
That one's available, I think. Is it available on Amazon or one of those?
I always make sure that the movies that we pick are available on the Internet Archive at least. So it's available there for sure. I don't know where
maybe
else
it'll inspire me to run some more games.
When the thing goes up, I will put a link to it so people can watch it for free, and they can watch it beforehand, and they can discuss it in the chat when we talk about it on the show. So yeah, that's our regular movie night. Not this Sunday, but the next Sunday. So got lots of info to get ready for it, and lots of time to watch it.
If Dragon Slayer is on the Internet Archive, it's probably not there legitimately.
Shh. We don't know anything about that. What are you talking about? You can rent it from $3.99 from YouTube.
That's just like all of the Starlog archive is. Where's that? Archive.org or wherever that is. And I was talking to Dave McDonald about it, who was the supervising editor, the managing editor of Starlog, and he said nobody asked us permission to put that on there, so we didn't get any compensation for it at all or anything.
It looks like everybody wants $3.99 for it. Yeah. Apple TV, Prime.
Information wants to be free.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
All right. So yeah, that's it. We got the socials and all that stuff. Like and subscribe to the show if you wish to. We appreciate that. Helps us with the algorithm. Helps us getting out everybody to new people. We had a high of about 25.
Woo-hoo.
So it said. At part of the show, we're about half that now.
But, how many subs do you got now?
How many subs do we have on the channel? We are stuck at. Wait, no, we have more. A bunch more.
We got a couple of them with us.
622. Well, we appreciate
you from
Madman. You who Cayman decides to sub to the show, yeah, we appreciate that.
See.
That's great. Awesome.
Awesome.
Went up. There you go, Cam.
And
See?
hopefully Dean will
Cam
help pimp us out a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Cam won't be depressed. Won't be depressed tonight.
One of these days, I've got to go on Jack's show.
I'm sure he'd love to have you along. Always looking for new people on the panel.
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks everybody for coming out, and we will see you next week for the honor one. That should be a good one, Cam. It's got I already watched it because I was jonesing for some. It's got a bit of Mimbari in there, and somebody gets accused of murder, I think.
I thought there was something about merchandising.
Teddy bears.
No, that might be the B plug.
I don't know. That's all I saw. It just kept playing because I hit the wrong thing. Anyway, roll the credits.
Good night, everybody. Roll credits.
Thank you.
Good night.